We are going to see today decision making. Okay, let's begin. So, what is decision making? Decision making are the type of questions that are mix of behavioral, managerial, and mathematical questions, and these are uniquely part of your XAT exam only. Okay, so in these questions, it's not really a test of your theoretical knowledge, but it challenges the basic assumptions of your thinking and whether you are able to understand the real world problems presented to you. So there are a lot of things you have to deal with here, like decision making. Though they are saying that it is something where you have to answer like real world problems, but actually this is textbook decision making. So there are a few pointers that you have to keep in mind while you are solving the problems. Okay, even though you have to answer like it's your own real world problem, still you cannot give extreme answers which you would have actually done in your real life, but you cannot mark that as the answer. So there are some parameters we will talk about. Okay. The behavioral and managerial in this section are the interesting ones. Generally, you are provided with a situation in which multiple course of action arise, or there are multiple fallouts of a particular action, and you are supposed to identify the correct path or analysis. Majority of the time, the questions pose ethical, management, human resource related dilemmas that you are expected to address and solve. Effectively, you can view these questions as a combination of critical reasoning and reading comprehension questions. Okay. So the type of questions that can be there are single question prompts or multiple question prompts. Single question prompts usually have a 2 or 3 line info and followed by just one question, whereas multiple question prompts have longer caselets and which can be followed by either 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 questions. Sometimes even 6 questions have been seen in the past year papers. Another way that you can classify this ZAD decision making would be on the basis of content. Okay, so on the basis of that, decision making can be broadly classified into 4 ways. That is, either pure logic will be involved, or some financial issues, some managerial issues, or ethical dilemmas. Okay, next. Okay, so if you see in the past year papers, um, earlier decision making used to be just like sharing sections with other topics, but now from 2012 onwards, decision making was a section of its own in that. Okay, therefore it became very important because it means that you will have sectional cutoff for that, and you have to clear that to clear that. So therefore this topic is very important. Okay, and in 2012 there were 25 questions on decision making. Then 2013 had also 25 questions, 2014 had 21 questions. So it's going on around that 20 to 25 questions each year. Okay, so these are the tips you have to keep in mind while you are answering the questions. Number one is avoid extreme viewpoints. Okay, you need to avoid using of extreme viewpoints. You need to try to find balanced solution for the situation and adopt the middle path. Okay, then number two, you have to perform stakeholder analysis. What is that? You can't neglect any side of the story. If there is a situation where a lot of people are involved, you have to take care, you have to ensure that you know everybody's story while you are taking the decision, and you have to ensure that your decision maximizes benefits for all of them, for the sum total. Okay. Number three, always remember that organization is bigger than an individual. So if you are going to take any decision that might damage the company in some way or set bad precedent for others, you have to neglect that option. Okay. Then long term benefits versus short term benefits. So unless otherwise asked, okay, unless they ask you to resolve any short term. Okay, just a moment, I'll just check this. Okay, so the fifth point is okay. So unless otherwise asked, you have to resolve the problem for a long term. Okay, unless they ask you that you have to give some short term solution. Then fifth is ethical viewpoints. So what is ethical? Ethical mean, so it's something related to morality. Okay, something moral. So if you think that your solution is practical, but it is too extreme, then you cannot mark it. Okay, so the answer should not cross ethical bounds, and you have to choose the acceptable answer. So this is textbook decision making, you have to take care of that. Number six, you have to use your critical reasoning skills for questions with some data, and filter essential information. So as you go on reading the given information, you have to be able to retain important information while you do it. Okay. So let's begin with problem one, question one, which is a single question prompt from XAT 2008 paper. Read the information and answer the question. Okay, so the answer is option A, correct. Okay, Seema was the finance manager and she felt gender discrimination at her workplace. Therefore, she started another company of her own. Okay, so while starting the company, Seema decided that she would have equal proportion of male and female. Over the next 6 years, Seema emerged as a very successful entrepreneur and expanded her business to 8 locations. Now, what was the problem she was facing? That the female employees were not willing to travel across cities or work late hours as the work required them to do. Male employees did not hesitate undertaking such work. So Seema felt the pressure of reducing the proportion of female employees. But she would not do that because she was a conscientious female entrepreneur. So you have to choose the option which does not imbalance the male female ratio. Okay. So option B, reducing female employees, disbalances. C, do nothing. That is never the answer. Okay, whenever any question will have any option like do nothing, it will never be the answer. D, henceforth hire only male employees. That would again disturb the ratio. She should close the business. No, she should not. She is doing well. She is a successful entrepreneur, right? So the only option left is option A. Okay. Next, question 2. Okay. So you interview Mayank and Mayank is a hardworking young man, you would not want him to go. Your company have vacancies and you want to hire a hardworking young man. The only problem here is English. Okay, so I would hire him at all costs. No, saying that is like being in favor of the person and not the company. B, I would hire him for the job he is good at and provide training in other areas. Yes, so that can be done. C, I would hire him for production or finance job but not marketing job which requires good communication skills. Why not that option? Why not option C? I would ask him to improve his communication skills and come back again. That would never happen. Nobody come back again. I would not hire him as he might be a burden on organization because of his poor communication skills. No, that is also not there because each company have other departments as well where maybe communication skill is not required. Okay, so we'll not go for option C because there they tell that uh, like I would hire him for production or finance job, but I don't know if he is good at production or finance job. Therefore, that makes option B better because there it tells that I'll hire him for the job he is good at, whatever it is. So the answer is B, correct. Next question. Yes, so the correct option, like why we didn't choose option C, was because it is not specified. It is not told to us that whether if he is good in production or finance or not. Okay, so just putting him in that department is not the thing. B, okay. Okay, so most of you have said B, and Sauro have told E. The city of Nagar has a population of 10 million, 2 million among whom are rich, 3 million poor, 5 million middle class. Saundarya Cosmetics manufactured and sold beauty products to rich class at a premium price. And the products were very popular, so the middle class and poor segments also wanted to buy it, but they can't afford because of high prices. Of late, sales growth have been stagnating in the rich segment. Okay, so the growth sales is there, but it is not so much. Okay, it is stagnating. The growth is stagnating in the rich segment. So what is the best option for Saundarya Cosmetics to maximize what long term profits? Okay, so we need some option that would maximize long term profits. A is sell the same products at lower price to middle and poor class. No, if they do that, what will happen? The rich class will have a problem with that. Same products, if they are being sold at a lower prices, why will the rich class pay premium price to buy the same products, right? So A is not correct. Sell similar products of different quality standard with different brand name to the middle class and poor classes. That can be done since the quality have been differed, therefore the price can also be different, and nobody will have a problem with that. C, sell its product under different brand name to middle and poor class. Again, if they are selling their own same products, premium products, under different brand name to middle and poor class, firstly they will not want to buy it, they want to buy from the same brand. Okay, but suppose they tell out that it is their own different brand name, but again the same issue as option A will arise. Why will the rich class continue buying at premium price? D, continue to target only rich, hoping that today's middle class will be tomorrow's rich. No, that's not the correct answer. E, target middle class as it is the largest segment and forget about the rich. No, we as a perspective from the organization, they would want to retain whatever they already have and get more, right? To maximize long term profit, they would not want their rich customers to go away. They would want them to be there and target middle class as well. Okay, so that is why option E is not correct. So the only option that's left is option B. Okay, the correct answer is option B. Next question. Okay. So a database software manufacturing company found out that a product it has launched recently had a few bugs. The product has already been bought by more than million customers. The company realized that bugs could cost its customers significantly. However, if it informs the customer about the bug, it feared losing credibility. Okay, so credibility means whatever its good name it's there, right? If it does not if inform also, if whatever happens later, what will happen if you go ahead to buy a product, then you will think twice before buying from the same company if you know about some information that happened in the recent past about the bug, right? So what should the company do? What is the most ethical option? Number A is they should apologize and fix up for the bugs for all customers, even if it has to incur loss. Yes, that can be done because otherwise a million customers will face the consequences, right? Therefore, if the company apologizes and fix up the bug for all these customers, maybe the company will not lose credibility, even though if it have to incur some losses, but it will still be in the market. Okay, so that it can earn later from maybe another product. But if it does not fix it up, it will sooner or later lose its credibility, and then the loss will be even larger. So it's better that they apologize and fix up the bugs even if they have to incur loss. So the only proper answer is option A. Everybody have marked it correct? Any doubts? Anybody, if you have any doubts, please ask. Okay. Next, this caselet have 6 questions. Read the information. Done? Okay, so in the first few lines, Mr. Rajiv Singhal, chairman. Okay, wait. Is it visible now? Read the passage. Okay, let me know once you're done. What about others? Are you done? Okay. So here's the first question. Okay, so we have got different options. Sonia says A, Rishi and Neha says B, and Anisha have said C. What about others? I see that 13 people are attending the class and only 4 answers have come in. If you don't participate, it's difficult to learn. Mark whatever you think is correct and then we'll discuss. Okay, so the passage was about Mr. Thakur, okay, who was the newly elected president. And what was he doing? He thought that dealing directly with the individuals could portray management's concern for the employees. So he took the initiative and dealt one by one with the supervisors, okay, to negotiate their wages. And then the contract was finalized. But what he did was he left out the night shift supervisors. He only dealt with the day shift, but he implemented the contract for every one of them. Okay, though he didn't had a word with night shift supervisors, he still implemented the wage contract for all of them. That was the problem. Okay, so Ram Lal, one of the night shift supervisor, was trying to seek appointment with Mr. Thakur about his wages. He was disgruntled not only over his failure to see the president, but also that his wage contract was implemented prior to discussions. Okay, as a family man with 6 dependents, he felt his weekly wage should be higher than that granted to him. So what happened last Thursday afternoon? Ramlal stopped by the president's office and tried to see him. He was his secretary refused him, but Ramlal stormed into the president's office and confronted the startled Mr. Thakur, who stood up and told Ram to get out and express his grievance through official channel. Ramlal took a swing at the president, and who in turn punched Ramlal and knocked him unconscious. So this is the whole passage. So what was the most important casual factor for this entire episode? Each and every word in the question is very important. Okay. So the most important casual factor. If if Mr. Thakur would have dealt with all before implementing the wage contract for all, would the situation arise? No, right? So it was Mr. Thakur's inconsistent dealing with the supervisors that led to this entire episode. That was the root cause, the main cause, the most important factor. Okay? Any doubts with any other options? Okay. Next question, question 2. Okay, so the situation with Mr. Lal could have been avoided if Mr. Thakur had. So, four points have been given. We have to arrange them in decreasing order of organizational impact. Okay, decreasing order of organizational impact. So, if you read the points, delegated the task of negotiation of wage contract for the night shift supervisors to personnel department. Yes, he could have done that. Created a process for supervisors working in night shift so that they could have an opportunity to interact with him. Okay, this could also have been done. Number 3, created an open door policy that would have allowed employees to see him without any appointment. 4, postponed the decision of wage revision for supervisors in the night shift for 2 months, since supervisors were rotated on different shifts after every 2 months. Now, after reading till the fourth point, I know that fourth point is going to impact the organization the most, right? If the wage decision is implemented for only the day shift supervisors for 2 months, and later for the night shift supervisors, if it will be implemented, there will be much chaos, because people would not, the supervisors in the day shift would have a problem with that. Okay, so that could lead to the most organizational impact, and we need to arrange this in decreasing order of organizational impact, which means the one with the most impact will come at the end, right? Okay. The option that best arranges the above managerial intervention in decreasing order of organizational impact is. So number 2, uh, so you see that only in the E option, fourth option is at the end. Okay. So that is not the correct option. The fourth thing, the fourth point, that is not the correct thing to do. Okay. So firstly, he could have created a process for supervisors in the night shift to visit him. Then next he could have created an open door policy. Next he could have delegated the task to personnel department, and last he could have postponed this wage revision. So the answer is option E. Next question 3. Okay, so last question. I see some of you are having a doubt. Okay, the situation with Mr. Lamral could have been avoided if Mr. Thakur had. Okay, so they are talking about avoiding the situation, avoiding this whole situation. Okay, it is organizational impact, but in respect to this situation. Okay, so fourth, postpone the decision of wage revision for supervisors in the night shift for 2 months, since supervisors were rotated on different shifts after every 2 months. That would lead to a further situation. Maybe all the day shift supervisors would have protested against it. Okay, so that would have become even one more situation. While the situation could have been avoided if, number one, he would have created a process for the night shift to visit. If that was there, then Ramlal could have easily visited Mr. Thakur and this whole situation could have been avoided. Or if there was an open door policy, number two. Number three, if at least the personal department was delegated this task. And number four is the one which is if it could have been postponed. So that's the last option. You have to focus on the first question also, right? The situation with, what are these points? These are the situation with Mr. Lamlal could have been avoided if Mr. Thakur had done these things. Okay, so therefore it's in that order. Yes, Sonia. Okay, third question. What have you answered? B? Okay, third question. The most likely premise behind Mr. Thakur's initiative regarding individualized meetings with the supervisors seem to be. What was his most what was his initiative? Why did he thought so? So this answer is very clearly given in the passage here. The company, no. Okay, Mr. Thakur felt that by dealing directly with the individuals, he could portray the management's concern for the employees. So we have to use this line here. Here, option B. Involvement of companies precedent in wage problems of the employees will lead to better goodwill towards the management among the workers. Okay, so that's the answer. Question 4. Question 4. Okay, out of the following, which one seems to be the most likely cause of Ramlal's grievance? A. His disappointment with the management's philosophy of having one to one interaction, as the supervisors were, in a way, forced to accept the wage contract. Nothing like that have been mentioned. So A is not the answer. B, his being in the night shift had worked to his disadvantage as he could not interact with the management regarding his problems. Yes, so that is the main reason, right? First of all, his wage was not discussed, and later, whenever he tried to reach out the management, he was not able to. So that was the cause of his grievance. C, he was not allowed to meet chairman of the board of directors of the company. Um, yes, so out of B and C, B is still better, right? Because he was not trying to meet the chairman of board of directors of the company. Chairman of board of directors is Mr. Rajiv Singhal. Okay, he didn't want to meet him. Whom was he trying to meet? Mr. Thakur. Okay, so C is not correct. Employment in the night shift had forced him to stay away from his family during the daytime, and therefore he could not interact. No, that was not the reason. E, all of these, no. So the only correct answer we can find is option B. Two more questions are there. Solve question 5. Okay. So apart from the supervisors working in the night shift, executives of which department will have most justified reasons to be disgruntled with Mr. Thakur's initiative? 1. Production department for not being consulted regarding the behavior of supervisors on shop floor. Yes. Number 2. Finance department for not taken into confidence regarding the financial consequences of wage contracts. Yes. Number 3. Marketing department for not being consulted on the likely impact of wage contract on the image of the company. No, that doesn't matter. 4. Quality control for not being able to give inputs to Mr. Thakur on how to improve quality of steel making process. That is absolutely irrelevant, right? So as soon as you know that 4 is definitely not there, you can cancel out options B, D and E, leaving you only with two options, A and C, where it is 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 5. What is 5? 5 is personal department, for it was their work to oversee wage policies for employees and they had been ignored. So yes, they have to be there. So the answer is 1, 2, 5, that is option C. Okay, question 6. Which of the following managerial attributes did Mr. Thakur seem to lack the most? Emotional instability under pressure. No, he was emotionally unstable under pressure. So that is not lacking in Mr. Thakur. A cannot be the answer, it can be D. Okay, proactive problem solving. Yes, he was trying to solve the problem by one-on-one interaction. He was doing good, but the he was not just not consistent. That is where he went wrong. Okay, he was a good problem solver though. C, ethical behavior. Um, so ethical behavior is more of a wide term. Okay, it's more of a general term. But if we say emotional stability under pressure is the point that Mr. Thakur was lacking, so that is more relevant, on point. Okay, is it clear? Option D is the correct answer. Option D is the correct answer. Any doubts? Okay, so C also looks like correct here, but why we are selecting D over C is because C is a more broader term, while D is on point in regards to the situation that had arisen. Okay, so that's it. We'll stop here. We'll continue to see the decision making problems. Today we have one more class that is at 2:30. Okay, at 2:30 p.m. today we have another class where we will continue from here. And then after today, like from tomorrow onwards, every day at 4 p.m. we will have 1 hour of class for decision making for the next 8-10 days. Okay. That's it. We'll stop here. And if anybody out of you is interested for Unacademy Plus subscription, if you are planning to go for CAT 2020, then you can check the links below and use my referral code Riya Agarwal to get the discounts on your course. Okay, so we stop here. Thank you.